Blake Lively has filed a lawsuit against Justin Baldoni, accusing him of sexual harassment and orchestrating a smear campaign following their time on the set of It Ends With Us. In her newly submitted complaint, Lively, 37, claims that Baldoni, 40, who also directed the film, engaged in disturbing and unprofessional behavior during production. She further alleges that, after filming concluded, Baldoni initiated an extensive retaliation effort to damage her reputation. The lawsuit names not only Baldoni, but also the film's lead producer, Jamey Heath, as well as Wayfarer Studios, Baldoni's production company, and its co-founder, Steve Sarowitz. Additional individuals accused of participating in the alleged smear campaign include Jed Wallace, Melissa Nathan, and Jennifer Abel. Baldoni's attorney, Brian Friedman, denied the allegations, telling People that Lively's claims are an attempt to fix her negative reputation. He described the accusations as false, outrageous, and intentionally salacious, and claimed they were intended to harm Baldoni publicly. Friedman also alleged that Lively created challenges during the film's production, including threatening not to show up to set and refusing to promote the movie, which he says contributed to its poor performance upon release. Blake Lively's allegations date back to the period before filming began on the adaptation of Colleen Hoover's novel It Ends With Us, and before a meeting was held to establish safeguards concerning Justin Baldoni and Jamey Heath. According to her complaint, Baldoni introduced improvised, gratuitous sexual content and/or scenes involving nudity into the film, including for an underage character, in ways she described as highly unsettling. These changes allegedly included a scene in which Lively's character, Lily Bloom, was scripted to orgasm on camera, as well as a detailed depiction of the younger Lily losing her virginity, neither of which appeared in the original novel. Lively claims these additions were made without her consent, after she had already agreed to join the project. When Lively objected to the changes, Baldoni allegedly defended them by stating that he was creating the film through the female gaze, according to the complaint. Although he eventually agreed to remove the scenes, the director allegedly attempted to retain one depicting Lily and Baldoni's character, Ryle Kincaid, climaxing together on their wedding night. He reportedly argued that the scene was important to him because he and his partner also climaxed simultaneously during intimacy. The complaint further claims that Baldoni intrusively asked Lively whether she and her husband, Ryan Reynolds, also climaxed simultaneously during intimacy, a question she found invasive and refused to answer. The complaint alleges that during intimate scenes included in the final script, Justin Baldoni improvised physical intimacy that had not been rehearsed, choreographed, or discussed with Ms. Lively, all without the involvement of an intimacy coordinator. One such instance reportedly occurred when Baldoni discreetly bit and sucked on Ms. Lively's lower lip during a scene in which he improvised numerous kisses on each take, insisting on filming the scene repeatedly. In another scene, described as a slow dance between Lily and Ryle requiring no dialogue, Baldoni allegedly broke character and, speaking as himself, leaned forward and slowly dragged his lips from her ear down her neck, saying, "It smells so good." According to the complaint, Baldoni's actions were caressing Miss Lively with his mouth in a way that had nothing to do with their roles. When Lively later confronted him about the behavior, Baldoni reportedly dismissed her concerns, stating, "I'm not even attracted to you." Following a meeting in January 2024 between Lively, Baldoni, the producers, and Ryan Reynolds, Wayfarer Studios agreed to specific measures, including ensuring an intimacy coordinator would be present for all scenes involving nudity and/or simulated sex, and prohibiting any further improvisation of kissing, according to the complaint. The complaint claims that Justin Baldoni and Jamey Heath shared their own personal intimate experiences without consent. According to the complaint, this disturbing behavior continued during filming, with both men allegedly sharing these personal experiences and, at times, pressuring Blake Lively to reciprocate. During a scene in which Lily gives birth, Baldoni and Heath are alleged to have suddenly pressured Ms. Lively to simulate full exposure, despite there being no mention of nudity in the script, her contract, or prior discussions. The complaint further states that Lively was mostly uncovered with her legs spread wide in stirrups, with only a small piece of fabric covering her private areas. and claims that the scene was utterly lacking in standard industry protections. Additionally, the complaint alleges that Heath showed Lively and her on-set assistant a graphic and fully exposed video of his wife giving birth, which Lively initially mistook for inappropriate content without their consent. It also claims that both men invaded Lively's privacy by entering her trailer unannounced while she was in private. When Lively attempted to meet with Heath to discuss Baldoni's unprofessional behavior on the second day of filming, the complaint alleges that Heath arrived unannounced at Lively's makeup trailer while she was topless and having body makeup removed by makeup artists. After Lively stated they could meet once she was clothed, Heath insisted on entering, and she reluctantly agreed, but asked that Mr. Heath keep his back turned. However, she allegedly noticed minutes later that the producer was staring directly at her while she was topless. As filming continued, the complaint alleges that both Baldoni and Heath displayed a shocking lack of boundaries by entering the actress's trailer uninvited while she was undressed or vulnerable, including when she was breastfeeding her infant child. The complaint also claims that both Baldoni and Heath spoke often about their previous pornography addiction and shared details of their past sexual relationships in a way that Lively found disrespectful and disturbing. In one instance, during a car ride with Lively, her assistant, and a driver, Baldoni allegedly said he was sexually abused by an ex-girlfriend, a topic he has since spoken about publicly, before reportedly admitting to engaging in sexual conduct without consent in a past relationship. Did I always ask for consent? No. Did I always listen when they said no? No, Baldoni allegedly stated during the car ride, which ended with Lively's driver expressing that he did not want her to be left alone with the director in the future. Baldoni and Heath are alleged to have constantly hugged and touched the It Ends With Us cast and crew, and when Lively or anyone else avoided the contact, they would retaliate by becoming irritated, cold, and uncollaborative, according to the complaint. At one point, Baldoni also allegedly claimed he could speak to the dead, telling Lively on several occasions that he had spoken to her recently deceased father. The complaint further alleges that Baldoni both sexualized Lively and criticized her appearance. He often referred to women in the workplace as sexy, and in one alleged incident, the director pressured Lively to remove her coat to reveal her onesie, which she had partially unzipped to show her bra, in a packed setting, telling her, "I think you look sexy," in a tone that made her feel ogled and exposed. In addition to these sexual comments, the complaint claims that Baldoni went out of his way to message criticisms of Lively's age and weight. He allegedly expressed concerns that she looked old and unattractive, based on paparazzi photos from the set. The complaint also alleges that Baldoni routinely degraded Lively by finding back-channel ways of criticizing her body and weight, including calling her trainer less than 4 months after she gave birth to her 4th child, behind her back, and implying that he wanted her to lose weight in 2 weeks. Lastly, the complaint claims that Baldoni and Heath deliberately withheld information from Lively about her exposure to COVID-19 during an onset outbreak, which led to both her and her then-infant child contracting the illness. Filming for It Ends With Us went on pause during the writers' strike last year, but before production was set to resume, Lively presented her complaints about the director and producer, citing their invasive, unwelcome, unprofessional, and sexually inappropriate behavior during a meeting in January 2024. As a result of the all-hands meeting, which was held to address the hostile work environment that had nearly derailed production prior to the strike, a set of 30 protections was put in place, including 17 specifically aimed at requiring Wayfarer to cease the on-set behavior of Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath, according to the complaint. Among these protections were measures such as no more improvising of kissing and no more personal, physical touching of or sexual comments by Mr. Baldoni or Mr. Heath to be tolerated by Blake Lively and or any of her employees, as well as any female cast or crew without their express consent. Upon receiving the list, Wayfarer, which is co-owned by Baldoni, issued a statement that read, "Although our perspective differs in many aspects, ensuring a safe environment for all is paramount, irrespective of differing viewpoints. Regarding your outlined requests, We find most of them not only reasonable, but also essential for the benefit of all parties involved. The complaint alleges that ahead of It Ends With Us premiere in August, Baldoni, fearing that Lively would go public with her negative on-set experiences, assembled a team to protect his reputation and turn people against her. Private texts and emails included in the complaint provide evidence of this alleged effort. To safeguard against the risk of Miss Lively ever revealing the truth about Mr. Baldoni, the Baldoni Wayfarer team created, planted, amplified, and boosted content designed to eviscerate Ms. Lively's credibility, the complaint claims. They engaged in the same techniques to bolster Mr. Baldoni's credibility and suppress any negative content about him. In one exchange between Abel, a public relations executive, and Nathan, a crisis management expert, Abel conveys Baldoni's frustration with the team's initial plans for the alleged smear campaign. According to the exhibits, Abel said, "I think you guys need to be tough and show the strength of what you guys can do in these scenarios," and further added, he wants to feel like she can be buried. Of course, but when we send over documents, we can't send over the work we will or could do because that could get us in a lot of trouble, Nathan allegedly replied. In other texts, she reportedly added, "We can't write we will destroy her," and imagine if a document saying all the things that he wants ends up in the wrong hands. Further texts show Baldoni's team expressing satisfaction over shutting down reports of his alleged inappropriate behavior on set, with Nathan commenting in October that Baldoni doesn't realize how lucky he is right now. In response, Baldoni's lawyer, Friedman, stated that representatives of Wayfarer Studios did nothing proactive nor retaliated, and only responded to incoming media inquiries to ensure balanced and factual reporting and monitored social activity. What is pointedly missing from the cherry-picked correspondence is the evidence that there were no proactive measures taken with media or otherwise, just internal scenario planning and private correspondence to strategize, which is standard operating procedure with public relations professionals. After the complaint was filed, Lively issued a statement to the New York Times saying, "I hope that my legal action helps pull back the curtain on these sinister retaliatory tactics to harm people who speak up about misconduct and helps protect others who may be targeted."